Welcome back to the show. Now I want you to imagine losing your only child to an opioid. And you sit there and think, how could a mother go through that? How could a mother, recover from something like that? Opioid addiction has become so prevalent in today's world. I want to bring in Charla Bocchicchio, who is sharing her story. Now, Charla, you and I met actually on another story, and you and I got talking about this, and you wanted to share your new book and your survival story, essentially, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, explain and take us back to when your daughter was struggling for 7 years and then to that moment when she did pass away.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long story, so I'll keep it brief, but basically my daughter, Cassidy, she had dealt with depression, anxiety for most of her young life, and then I believe she started to self-medicate when she became a teenager. She experimented with different kinds of substances, and then eventually at age 15, she tried heroin for the first time.
Oh, wow.
And I feel like that was kind of the turning point for her, where introducing an opiate into the developing brain of a 15-year-old, she just almost didn't stand a chance. And she struggled for the next 7 years, in and out of rehabs. We did everything we could to help her, but it was a roller coaster. She would get well for a while, she would not be using, and then it would be right back to it with a relapse. Bad relationships with guys, just destroyed relationships with family, like addiction does.
Right.
And in 2016, she had her last heroin, and it killed her. They found out, it was on November 11th of 2016 when she and her boyfriend, they decided to use. They hadn't been using for quite a while, but this was a few months where they were, basically clean, and they decided to use one last time, and he woke up and she didn't.
Oh, Charla.
The coroner gave us a report that it wasn't heroin at all, it was fentanyl, 100% fentanyl.
Wow.
That killed her.
So Charla, you're speaking up and sharing your story because you want to erase the stigma around addiction and really help others who might be struggling with this as well.
Yeah, I think it's really important to share our stories, regardless of what the story is. I think mental health has a lot of stigma attached to it, and substance use disorder, which is what we're calling addiction now, it is a mental health issue as well as a medical issue. I mean, they're saying that this is a chronic brain disorder. So I think to erase the stigma is so important, because with the stigma in place, it's keeping people from getting help. It's keeping families from reaching out and speaking up. We feel like we have to hide in the shadows and kind of like in shame. We don't feel comfortable talking about this kind of stuff.
Right.
Because we're ashamed.
Yeah. Well, and Charla, I have addiction in my extended family. I feel like a lot of us know someone, whether it's a friend, a family, somebody that has dealt with this. And the fact that we are talking about it more, raising awareness for this mental health, is helping so many different people. So if people want to get their hands on your book, tell them just a little bit about it and how they can get it.
Well, I decided to write the book just shortly after she died. It's really my story of grieving her loss and talking about her story a little bit more. I wrote a book and published it on Amazon. It's available there. My New Normal, a mother's story of love and loss in the opioid epidemic. There are also some local bookstores that are carrying it here. Golden Braid is one of those, so if you want to support a local bookshop.
Wonderful, and they can also get it on your website, right?
Yes, the website is mynewnormalbook.com.
Well, Charla, you're incredible. Thank you for sharing your story, and I hope that you help so many other people out there as well.
Thanks for having me, Jenny.
Be what's coming up.